Okay, so this video is going to talk about several concepts in the course of principles of food safety and quality assurance. First, let's talk about what is food safety. So food safety is like a hockey goalie, keeping out unwanted players, in this case, contaminants and toxins. It's all about handling, preparing, and storing food to prevent foodborne illnesses. For example, cooking your chicken to the right temperature, washing your fruits and vegetables, and storing your leftovers properly. And then we're going to talk about what is food quality. So if food safety is our goalie, then food quality is our forward scoring points with the customers. It's about the features that make food appealing: good color, flavor, texture, and the absence of negatives like spoilage or discoloration. Think of a perfectly ripe peach, a juicy steak, or a crisp baguette. And then we're going to talk about terminology. So first, it's standard operating procedures. They are like a cookbook, providing step-by-step instructions for tasks in compliance with the requirements. In a food processing facility, you might have SOPs for everything, from good manufacturing practices to sanitation to quality control. And then we're going to talk about what is hazard and risk. So first of all, what is a hazard? A hazard is a source of danger, like a sharp blade or a harmful bacteria in food. Risk, on the other hand, is the chance of that hazard causing harm. For example, the risk of cutting yourself with a blade or getting sick from the bacteria. So what types of hazard do we have? In food, we have three types of hazards: biological, chemical, and physical. Biological, like bacteria or viruses. Chemical, like toxins or allergens. And physical, like broken glass or metal fragments. It's like a trail of villains we want to keep out of our food. So what is the hazard analysis? Let's consider a food processing plant. A hazard analysis in this context might involve identifying potential hazards that could contaminate the food. For example, the analysis might identify that there is a risk of bacterial contamination from the processing equipment. The hazard analysis is focused on identifying what could go wrong. And what is risk assessment? Building on the previous example I just talked about, once the hazard, which is bacterial contamination, is identified, a risk assessment would be conducted to evaluate the likelihood of that hazard occurring and the severity of the consequences if it does. For example, the risk assessment might determine that there is a high likelihood of contamination due to poor cleaning practices, and that the consequences could be severe, including potential food poisoning for consumers. And the difference between the two lies in their focus. Hazard analysis is about identifying potential hazards, while risk assessment is about evaluating the likelihood and impact of those hazards. And then we're going to talk about one important concept, which is hazard analysis critical control points. So it's like our food detective, identifying and managing food safety risks. It's a systematic and preventive approach used worldwide. It's like a roadmap guiding us from farm to fork, ensuring food safety at every step. And developing a HACCP plan is a 12-step process, including 5 preliminary tasks and 7 principles. It's like planning a cross-country road trip, where each step is a city you need to visit. From assembling your team, like picking your travel buddies, to identify critical control points, like choosing the best routes, to establishing documentation, like keeping a travel diary. So I'm not going to read these tasks and principles aloud. Let's introduce the first 5 preliminary tasks, and we will explain them in detail. So first, assembling the HACCP team. We need to assemble our HACCP team. It's like forming a hockey team. You need players with different skills, but all committed to the same goal: food safety. First up, we have the letter of commitment. This is a formal declaration from senior management, confirming their full support for developing, implementing, and maintaining an effective HACCP system. It's like captain promising to lead their hockey team to victory. Next, the HACCP team leader, appointed by senior management. They are responsible for ensuring the HACCP system is developed, implemented, maintained, and is reassessed. They're like the coach of our food safety team, guiding us through the game and making sure we are playing our best. And remember, every position requires a backup to ensure that the project can proceed smoothly in case a member is unable to attend. Next, let's take a look at describing the product. We need to describe our product and identify its intended use. It's like writing a biography for our food product. Where it comes from, what it's made of, how it's packaged, and how it should be used. This information is crucial for identifying potential hazards and ensuring food safety. And then let's take a real-life example about identifying intended use. Imagine a company that produces a line of frozen meals. The intended use of these meals is to provide a quick, convenient meal option for consumers. These meals are designed to be stored in the freezer and then heated in a microwave or oven before eating. The company needs to consider potential hazards associated with this intended use. For instance, if the meals are not properly cooked, there could be a risk of foodborne illness. Therefore, the company includes clear cooking instructions on the packaging to ensure customers prepare the meal safely. The company also needs to consider the storage conditions. Since these meals are intended to be frozen, they need to ensure that the meals remain frozen during transportation and storage to prevent spoilage. By identifying the intended use of their product, the company can better anticipate and manage potential food safety hazards. And then let's move on to step 4, constructing a process flow diagram. Think of it as a roadmap for our food product, showing each step from receiving raw materials to shaping the final product. It helps us identify where hazards might occur and how we can prevent them. Number 5, constructing a plant schematic. Finally, we need to construct a plant schematic. This is like a blueprint of our food processing plant, showing the flow of products, ingredients, waste, and even employees. It helps us identify potential areas of cross-contamination and ensure food safety. Okay, so that's for today's video. See you next time.